Alexandra at the Lexington facility for New Vocations Racehorse Adoption Program. Today, for our Trainer Tip Tuesday, I have Deuce Daddy here. His profile is up on our website at horseadoption.com, so you can check out all of his general info. But today, for the Trainer Tip, I wanted to talk with you about the whole process of retraining when you are bringing a horse back from having time off, because a lot of times people like to give the horses time off when they're coming directly from the track, and that gives them a chance to just sort of let down, learn how to be a baby horse, since most of them are retiring at the young age of around 3 or 4. So sometimes it's advisable just to give them time to do nothing. But when they've had extended amounts of time sort of just being settled, or maybe they're coming back from an injury, it's really, really important to give them a chance to get back into shape. Same sort of way that you would want to slowly bring yourself back into fitness if you stopped going to the gym for a while and maybe you're focusing on other parts of your life, or maybe you're cooped up in your house for COVID. You wouldn't go run a marathon right after getting back into things. You'd want to slowly work your way up. So that's what we've been doing with Deuce Daddy, who was working as a equine teacher. Are we still on? Okay, cool. We had a phone call coming in. So Deuce Daddy was helping to bring up the next generation of workers in the racing industry. So what they found was he was too much of an advanced ride. A lot of the people coming into that program just didn't have the sort of experience necessary to ride him. He is a very energetic ride. He I was bucking every once in a while and just wasn't a good combination for people who were trying to learn. So when he came here, he had been out of work for around a year, hadn't really been doing much, just kind of living a low-key lifestyle. And one of the things we noticed was that he was an incredible athlete, but just had, his weak point was kind of his hind end. So he has this incredible powerhouse of a hind end. You ask him to back up on the ground, he could jog backwards, but he's out of shape. So what started to happen was we noticed he just felt a little bit weaker behind, has a lot of drive, just not coming consistently from the sort of back engine. And he actually, when we were done with the ride, I felt like he just wasn't moving quite right. And when I got off, his stifle started locking. So the upward fixation of the patella, or locking stifles, can happen for many different reasons. And in his case, it was just purely a case of him being out of shape. And so he didn't have the supportive structure there to help him function as he normally would, because all of those muscles weren't doing their job of taking a lot of the impact and all of the effort and the energy that comes in their movement. It wasn't happening from his muscles because they weren't strong enough. But the same thing can happen to your horse in a lot of other areas. If you're bringing them back from an injury, you want to make sure those muscles are really up to par so that their joints, like the patella, is not trying to support the movement itself. So in order to take the pressure off of their joints, you need to build the supportive muscular structure. So we have quite a few horses who are rehabbing or doing some form of retraining, getting back into fitness, and we start really slow. We always start with around 10 or 15 minutes of walking, and we'll introduce the trot slowly, and that might just be 2 to 5 minutes a week of trot until they can sustain that walk and trot routine for around half an hour to 45 minutes, and then we start to do the same sort of thing of introducing 5 minutes of canter, or 2 minutes of canter, and then maybe 5 minutes of canter, and then maybe 7 minutes of canter the next week. But we'll gradually build them up. So I'm gonna take Deuce Daddy for a little spin here. And for those of you who have seen his profile online, you might know that he is a horse who is recommended for only a very high level rider. And so you'll probably see a little bit of that. He is a very energetic horse. Every once in a while, he still feels feels the need to express himself with his hind end, and he likes a very particular sensitive type of ride. So I'm going to play around with him a little bit, and you guys can watch. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the comments bar, and Julie's behind the camera. She can ask the questions, but I'm just going to play around with him a little bit. One of the things we really focus on when we're getting them back into work are transitions. So you'll see me go do plenty of transitions between the different gaits, walk, trot, and a little bit of canter. We're not going to do too much canter because he's still working on developing that hind end, and I don't want to push him too much, but we'll play around.
Yes, this is Leandra riding. And once she comes back to the center, I will have her answer your question, Rachel. And obviously you can see some of his pizzazz. He has had chiropractic work done on him this week. So the bucking is not coming from a place of pain, that's just his spunk.
Yep, so Daddy was just adjusted by the chiropractor, so he does not have any pain in his back. It is, for him, an expression of enthusiasm. So you can imagine setting it to the tune of Taylor Swift's Shake It Off, or maybe an AC/DC song, and just take it with a grain of salt. So you see, when he does that, there is no anguish in it, there is no pain responses, so things that we look for, bracing, ears back, biting, things like that, where it's very easy as a rider, if you're listening, to read for pain responses. He's been checked out completely. He does not have any pain sources of it, but it is part of his expression and his, like I said, enthusiasm. And what we noticed was when he was in a program, consistently, that did not happen. You figure out the right buttons. So as you can see, like at one point I was posting at the canter, which is unconventional to many, that for what he needed to work through his excitement, to work through what he's feeling, having just been adjusted by the chiropractor. So maybe he's feeling something's a little awkward, or he's moving more freely, and he says, wow, I can feel all this stuff now. So you have to let them work through that. And if you're not comfortable with that as a rider, you certainly don't need a horse like him, or you can make sure that you lunge horses and are not cold backing them. But as our job as riders doing the retraining is to figure out what they need and to work with them to work on the weaknesses, to highlight the strengths, and to work them completely. So a horse like him is certainly not a good pick for everyone, and we make sure we are as thorough as possible to make sure that any adopter can handle the horses on their worst day as well as on their best day. But it is our responsibility to figure out what works for them. We certainly have horses who you can feel them brace along their back. Raging Fire is a perfect example of that. We have had him here at the Lexington facility twice, and in both times he massively benefited from a chiropractic adjustment. And on the lunge line or under saddle, you could feel him buck from a place of tension and discomfort. But as soon as he was adjusted, so Raging Fire was just adjusted as well, no issues. So he would buck on the lunge line and he would need to work that out, and he would feel a little bit stiff still, no issues any longer. With Daddy, this is going to be something of consistency and of strength. He's a very strong-headed horse. He's a very energetic horse. But you can see he can be very quiet, he's very responsive, he's very friendly and kind of happy-go-lucky. So he just needs the right partner to take him where he needs to go. And even considering the fact that he still, despite his massive displays of athleticism, he still needs to work on his strength. But even when he gets stronger, you're going to expect to have an even more powerful animal. So that is where we take every horse as an individual. We make sure that they have a routine that works for them, that they can mentally and physically keep up with and benefit from, and then you can move forward and prosper. So a little bit of a show for you in a couple ways, but hopefully you've gained some insight about the way that we work and some of the things that we do for horses who are working on that strengthening and retraining process. Please tune in tomorrow for our virtual tour, which is at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you have any questions, feel free to type those in even after we're live, and we'll try to get back to them. Check out our website, horseadoption.com. You can see his profile, including more pictures, more video, and I hope you tune back in next time we're live. Thanks, everyone.